Good day, everyone. It's Sal, and this is going to be a quick 5-minute tutorial on how to use test scores, the CACCSS test scores, to help identify grade level essential standards. Now, if you're on this presentation, you would just go to slide number 17 and click on the portion where it says, click here for patient chart, and then you'll see this website open up. Going to this website will allow you to identify strengths and weaknesses for students during that specific test. And then I've provided alignment charts to see what the essential standards were for those tasks. For this tutorial, I'm only going to be focusing on one 8th grade exam and one 11th grade exam. But of course, you have opportunities to explore all the exams and all the test dates within your grade level. Now, the first thing I do want to have and show is a quick example of what the final choices a grade level makes and how to document them. So right here where it says example 10th grade alignment handout, if you just open that handout, and you'll see this handout for 10th grade, I've went ahead and named it, and then you'll see the 5 standards at the bottom, or the 5 criteria: the literature, reading informational text, writing, speaking, and listening. Now, the hope is that every grade level chooses 15 to 20, depending on what you find that you want to work on for a year. And then just highlight the standard that you've chosen, but also provide some rationale. What did the team find? What did you see in the reports? What alignment standard did you find that kind of coincides with that report, so that you know that your focus and your assessments or your standards are going to be to help students produce the best and achieve mastery of these standards. So if I go to my specific grade level, you'll see it'll say West Covina High School English 1 Common Core State Standards 9th through 10th. You guys just go ahead and rename that. Everyone should be able to have access to it. If you need to share for someone else that I've missed, please go ahead and share that with them. And then this is your copy to make your choices and highlights and notes on this. So let me go back to the test handout. And I'm going to go ahead and pick one of the 8th grade 2018 tests. I'm going to pick Holland Crest Middle School and open up their Smarter Balanced assessments. Now, on the top, you'll see their overall performance, students who met and exceeded the standard, and then students who didn't, were below and far below in the standards. But then if I scroll down, I get claim performance stands. So these are the 4 claims that are tested in the CASP, or Smarter Balanced assessment: reading, writing, listening, and research and inquiry. And then on the left-hand side, you see how those bands weigh out. So above, anything in the blue is a student who met or went above the standard. Anything in gray is near the standard, and anything in orange is below the standard. So right away in Holland Crest Middle School, I can see that their main skill that students are leading with is research and inquiry. They have a really high percentage of students getting that. And then the low one would be writing, closely followed by listening, which is also a district kind of goal. So if I went to my chart again, I'm going to go ahead and pick Claim CAS Standards Alignment 6th to 8th grade. I'm going to click on that and open up a document that I provided for you that looks like this. Now, this is only for 8th grade CASP alignment. You'll see the standards are going to be mentioned are only for 8th grade, like reading, literature 8.1. And then I have the 4 claims at the bottom: reading, writing, listening, and research and inquiry. Now, I noticed on that chart, research and inquiry was one of their strengths. So I'm going to go and try to find what those standards are and see if I can now take them to the 9th and 10th grade level standards based on what I saw as a performance for last year. So one thing I do want to make you aware is that there's target and description items on the left-hand side. These are just to help identify a grouping of standards and what the test hoped to score. Now, not all of these grouped standards are assessed by the summative assessment or the CASP, only because some of them require, like this one, conducting short research. It's something that the system is not going to be able to test. But if you scroll further down, you'll start seeing the items that are assessed, like analyze and integrate information, and you see the standards that are addressed: reading informational text and writing. Then I go down to evaluating information, and you see there's another writing standard there. How they use evidence, there's a lot of writing standards in here. And then other items that are not assessed. Well, my focus is going to be right now for items that are assessed, and then as a group decide, well, which of these standards are going to be my main focus, which ones do I want to go ahead and add into the essential standards. Now, I also saw that in Holland Crest Middle School, writing was one of the areas that they needed more work on. So for this, I go into the writing tab or claim, and then I notice that on here it gives me all the writing standards broken down into 3 parts. In 8th grade, 30% of the test, students need to understand and how to edit narratives. Another 35% is how to revise and organize informational text or arguments, informational or expository writing, and then another 35% comes from assessing arguments. So those are the breakdowns for the types of writing tasks, but the writing standards are going to be right here on the 3rd column. And then they also include how they use language in their writing and editing, which are some of the question types that they're going to be asked to do, is edit another student's piece of writing. So again, this is how I would use Holland Crest Middle School's CAS scores and help align or at least choose the essential standards that I would want in my grade level to kind of focus on for the year. Now, if I go back to this handout and I pick West Covina's 2018 CAS scores, I'm going to get this right here. So right away, I can see the overall percentage of students that met or exceeded the standards according to the 4 claims, but then the individual claims where students were successful. Now you can notice research and inquiry and writing were our strongest points already. So automatically, this seems like something that all the grade levels, or at least the 9th grade and 10th grade levels, seem to have in common. They're going to focus their standards on there. But then you see the lowest standard of achievement was listening. So I might want to focus on the listening standard for the seniors. So if I go back to this handout, I'm going to click on Claim Task Standards and Alignment for 11th grade. And when I open that, I see this handout. It looks just like the 8th grade CASP alignment, but now this has the 11th and 12th grade standards that all 4 claims are trying to address. And again, I noticed from last year's scores that the 11th grade group was performing the lowest on listening and speaking. So because there's no speaking being assessed in the CASP, they do group some of those items so that perhaps teachers can go ahead and start embedding some of these assessment type questions within. But really at the bottom, you'll see the listening standards, and there's only 2 that our students are assessed. And of those 2, they're still performing the least in the CASP test. So again, using this document to look through test scores from 2018 or 2017 if you're looking at sophomores, and then using the alignments spans between 6th to 8th grade and 11th grade to see where the students are either successful or need some more help, and then aligning standards to there. Using these charts so that you can identify specific standards you and your team want to work on. Please, if you feel you have any other questions or you need more instruction on the CASP, don't hesitate to email me, sal.hernandez@wcusd.org. Thank you.